Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us right here on the Morning Woodward Show, featured on the Roar, 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Happy Thursday, everyone. You are almost to Friday, which means you are almost to the weekend. Yes. All right, you guys. Detroit Red Wings, they won last night. Fish and I were there. It was exciting. Shout out.
4 in a row.
Yeah, 4 wins in a row for the Red Wings. Shout out to
I'm right there to strangle you.
Adam, can we just have a positive opening? Look at him. All right, shut up, Adam. All right. Like I was saying, Fish and I were there. Shout out to our lovely listener and friend Jenna for the tickets. It was a lot of fun. Shout out to Tammy for coming and saying hi to us. D-Mac was out there working hard. But yes, like I said, lots of fun last night. I got to see Larkin score, which obviously I loved. But
Waterford.
Yeah, the whole time I was Waterford. But anyway, you guys, yes. Detroit Red Wings beat Seattle Kraken in a shootout win 4-3. But let's get into rookie Lucas Raymond. He just won Rookie of the Month of November. He scored his 10th goal of this season last night. Jeff, talk to me a little bit about this guy.
Well, we'll start with Lucas Raymond, obviously, winner of the Rookie of the Month for November. You have Maurice Sider, who was winner of the Rookie of the Month for October. And if you just look at those two awards alone, it's exciting as a Red Wings fan. I mean, this team, it's a very different team when they're at home. They're 8-2-2 at home this season, compared to 4-7-1 on the road. And you saw it last night. Obviously, Fish mentioned it earlier, winners of 4 straight. And right now, they stand 7th in the Eastern Conference. So the Red Wings this season, they look like a bunch of seasoned vets. And it's crazy to say that. I mean, you got a lot of young guys. Dylan Larkin last night, pair of assists, had a goal in the shootout. Adam Ernie obviously deciding the game winner late in the shootout as well. But that game last night was a great game. I mean, that's a game that in years past, I'm not sure the Red Wings win. And today, or last night, it was impressive. I mean, Grice comes in after the Nedeljkovic historic performance, plays solid, had that beautiful, beautiful save late in the third period, or I believe it was overtime, but regardless, it was impressive. And last night just shows you another reason why the Wings give us hope, because they go out there and they compete. I mean, on the road, they're not that good, but that's what we expect from a young team. I mean, they're solid at home. They're going to learn how to win on the road the more games they play together. And, you saw a couple mistakes from Rasmussen last night. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, you're missing some guys. Obviously, Tyler Bertuzzi out with COVID, the protocols, and say what you want. I'm not going to get into the whole that and the discussion of that. But even without Tyler Bertuzzi, I mean, finding a way to win last night, I mean, getting it done, going into overtime, into the shootout. I mean, that's you find a way to win, and that's what you look for as a Red Wings fan. When you're watching that game last night, and you know you have 2 impressive rookies, you're 7th in the Eastern Conference already, and it's a great season. So, I mean, if you're a Red Wings fan, you're watching last night, you're on the edge of your seat. If you were in person, I'm sure it was electric. But I'm excited. They take on Pittsburgh this week, which is the team that's behind them. They're 12-9-3. Pittsburgh's 10-8-5. So it's going to be interesting as the season goes on to see where they kind of end up in the standings. But this team is really overachieving in terms of what we thought, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah, I think what's crazy is everyone talks about, oh, we're in a rebuild. Give us a pass. We're in a rebuild. And then you see teams like the Wings, and they show glimpses. They're 12-9-3. They're 4th in the Atlantic Division. They are over delivering. Lucas Raymond on pace right now for about 74, 75 points on the year. I mean, it's unbelievable. Who would have thought, 24 games into the year, that the Wings would have a better record than the Boston Bruins in their own division?
Right.
It's phenomenal. They're on a 4-game win streak right now. They're playing out of their minds. 2 of their last 4 wins have been in overtime or a shootout. So they're playing close games. They're playing close games, and they're just getting better. They really are. And Blashill, I got to give him credit. I was harsh on him in the offseason. I wasn't extremely confident in him, but you know what? He's shown that, put young talent around me. Give me players that can skate. Give me players that can produce. And, I can at least get us in a good position. Whether or not he turns you into a championship contender years from now, that's a different conversation. But right now, I got to give complete credit to Jeff Blashill, Steve Yzerman, a great job they're doing in that organization, and that's the standard. So people can keep talking to me about a rebuild and how you can't win games, you can't do this during a rebuild. They're figuring it out. They're doing just fine.
And getting two guys like that immediately that are able to play and make an impact. I saw a comment. I think it's interesting. Do you think the Wings can make the playoffs this year, or are they still a few years away? What are your thoughts?
If Nedeljkovic starts 60-plus games, yeah, but I don't see that happening.
Right.
Nedeljkovic is an extremely talented goalkeeper. He's playing phenomenal. I think the best netminder Detroit's had in years. You can tell the overnight difference. 2 nights ago, they win 2-1. He stops 41 shots. Greece against Seattle, who aren't having the best year, first-year expansion team, 24 shots on goal, only saves 21 of them. And the game goes to overtime. In a game where, honestly, it felt like Detroit had control the whole time. So, we'll see. We'll see. I want to be hopeful and say, yeah, absolutely. I would love to watch playoff hockey. Not that I expect them to go far, but it's just good. It's just really nice to see the Detroit Red Wings playing well. And I saw Nick Leach post something on Twitter without being disrespectful to Pavel Datsyuk. He said, Lucas Raymond is a magician. And I think that's what everybody is seeing. The guy is extremely skilled. He's humble on the ice. And what I mean by that is he's not a selfish player. 10 goals, 12 assists. He plays hockey the right way. And if he scores, great. But his sole focus on the ice when he's on is how do I help my team? And I think credit goes to Steve Yzerman interviewing these kids, getting guys in the room that are team players but are willing to sacrifice themselves for the betterment of the team. It's just phenomenal to watch.
Yeah, and we still stay packed with who we think is clearly in the lead. I think the Red Wings, as early as next year, they're on track. And like you said, the whole Nedeljkovic thing, wow. Like, I remember being on The Hook when Maz and Pilar and D-Mac were all on the show before, and we're just talking about Nedeljkovic and him recently being traded and now where we are now and how he's developed. The guy's first real season playing NHL with the big boys, and man, he's only getting better. So I'm excited. And all Wings fans should be as well.
What was that? You cut off a little bit.
I said when we were doing the hook with Pilar, Maz, and D-Mac, I remember when the trade first got put through and we were reacting to Nedeljkovic. I believe I was filling in for Pilar. I was sitting on the desk and just discussing it to where we are now and how much better. And it is what is only his truly rookie season. It's his first season in the NHL as a big boy playing with the big dog. So, and he's only getting better. So you know what? He's probably going to, God, I cannot wait for him to jump off and see what the guy with the Griffins looks like, our draft pick this year. So I'm excited.
Yeah, Kassa, I'm excited to see Kassa eventually. I think he's still young. He maybe plays 2-3 games towards the end of the year, maybe. I don't expect much from him right away. I think Kim and Nedeljkovic are clearly your future 1-2 punch. And look, the Red Wings still need a goal scorer. Raymond right now on pace for 40 goals this year? So that's phenomenal. And you probably need another 25-plus goal scorer guy. And, whether it's Larkin stepping up to the plate, Bertuzzi, the Wings are still missing consistent goal scoring. And, look, I really can't credit Steve Yzerman enough. When you put together a rebuild the way the Wings did, think about it. It was just, 7 years ago, their last playoff appearance, I believe. And within 7 years, everybody is jumping off the roof and they're selling out the LCA. And the team isn't even extremely good. They're just young and talented. Just credit to Steve Yzerman, honestly. And, for every other organization that wants to tell me they can't rebuild in time and they need 5-6 years, kick rocks. Kick rocks.
All right, you guys, when we come back, we are going to talk about Kenneth Walker being named the Big Ten Running Back of the Year, all that and more when we come back. But first, our friends over at Northwestern Tech.
Yeah, Northwestern Tech provides great opportunities for you, anybody you know. If you're looking to start a new career, an industry that is always essential, it's the heating and cooling industry. You can learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. One mortgage myth we hear all the time is having to choose between a 15 or a 30-year fixed term. At Hall Financial, we offer the modern mortgage to create a flexible term that fits your unique financial situation. Our team of mortgage experts are available 7 days a week to review your goals and customize a solution for you. Get started today with a free 5-minute mortgage review at 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Woodward Show. Lots of awards or / honors, I guess, given out by the Big Ten. One going to Michigan State's Kenneth Walker, the third. He has secured the Big Ten Running Back of the Year, making him the first ever Spartan to do so. Walker is MSU's second Big Ten individual award winner because obviously Mel Tucker also won that Big Ten Coach of the Year, but I want to get into something else a little bit here. This may make some people mad because I think a lot of people were expecting Kenneth Walker to get this, but Ohio State's C.J. Stroud actually took home the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year honor. He also received the Big Ten's Quarterback of the Year and Freshman of the Year awards. So he is the first ever player to receive all three of those honors in one season. So a lot happening here, boys. I want to get your thoughts on it. Kenneth Walker, let's start with him. Named Big Ten Running Back of the Year. Is the Heisman next for him? What do you think, Adam?
I hope so. I'm a little concerned that C.J. Stroud won the Offensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten. Not that he's not deserving of it, but again, guys, so much of sports is about narrative. And when you have the narrative of we were 2-5 last year, nobody expected us to win more than 4, maybe 5 games at the most. A bowl game would have been considered a success for Michigan State. For a running back to open up the year running for 264 yards, 4 touchdowns against Northwestern. I mean, Kenneth Walker had a season that I don't think many people will forget anytime soon. And look, C.J. Stroud put up nice numbers. He piled up the stats later on in the year. But it's Ohio State. And I'm sorry, you are an element and you are what your surroundings and your expectations are. The expectation for Ohio State was to run the table and win the Big Ten championship. And they didn't. They have 2 losses. And Michigan State have 2 losses. But Kenneth Walker not named. I don't get it. I'm glad he was named Big Ten Running Back of the Year, but this concerns me about the Heisman. Whether it's going to be Bryce Young if he pulls off an amazing performance against Georgia, whether C.J. Stroud somehow still gets it, I don't know. But if I'm a voter, my first place vote goes to Kenneth Walker. Second place, I probably lean Bryce Young.
And listen, I agree with obviously the Big Ten award for the running back of the year is no question. It's Kenneth Walker. But the offensive player, I did have a little bit of a problem with. I respect C.J. Stroud. Obviously, you saw the game he had against Kenneth Walker in Michigan State, near flawless. But it's hard when you have that receiving core. You have those weapons around you. And arguably you might not even be the best player on the team, but C.J. Stroud has had a great year, so I'm not going to, argue about it. But I will say this: the Heisman conversation is interesting. Me and Adam have went back and forth. I've said all year, or at least a majority of the year, I believe Kenneth Walker's first. My only thing was, and I've done a lot of research because I want to make sure I'm not talking out of my ass here because Kenneth Walker's a great player, tremendous player. But you got to give credit where it's due. But Bryce Young, and I want to get into this real quick. That's my Heisman pick. I picked him, weeks ago. Even though I really felt Kenneth Walker was leading, that was my original pick to win the Heisman. The guy this year, and we talk about Alabama, all the weapons they usually have from a year-to-year basis. 300-yard passing games, over 300 yards. He's thrown it 8 out of the 12 games. So the stats are there. We don't have to get into the stats. 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But the thing that intrigues me about Bryce Young, and I've been just doing a lot of research into this. Obviously, we all know the 7 Alabama offensive starters that were taken last year. That's no question. We know that. But the fact is, this isn't the same Alabama offense we've seen in years past. It isn't, and that can't be taken lightly, to my opinion. I mean, you have. You don't have a Heisman candidate on your team. You don't have Devonta Smith. You don't have Jalen Waddle. You don't have a RB1 who you can confidently get you 1,000 yards a season. Like, this is Bryce Young, I think, is playing well above expectations. I mean, if he wins against Georgia, to me, that's his Heisman moment. I think he had a Heisman moment against Auburn, in my opinion, because you saw the drive with 50 seconds left, the 2-minute drill, near perfect to go into OT, 1 in 4 OTs. So there's been Heisman moments, but it's close. And the Aiden Hutchinson thing is interesting, obviously, that conversation. I think with Aiden Hutchinson, I feel like David Ajabo gets left out a little bit, but Aiden Hutchinson, to me, has had a good enough year to be in that conversation. You look at Will Anderson from Alabama, has had a monster season, but to me, it's a two-man race. That's Kenneth Walker, Bryce Young, and I believe if Bryce Young beats Georgia, it looks good while doing it. It's his award to lose, and that's my opinion.
I think that's mostly fair to say in regards to Bryce Young. He does have the matchup against Georgia, and if he does win, and he does go to the SEC title game, I don't know how you don't give it to him to agree with you on that point. Having said that, I'm sorry. Matt Corral, Kenny Pickett, C.J. Stroud, none of these guys should be above Aiden Hutchinson or Kenneth Walker. And, you guys can call me biased, because I'm a big fan of the Big Ten, but I'm sorry, narrative matters. Narrative matters. Alabama was expected to run the table. They were. Ole Miss was expected to win 10 games. Kenny Pickett, I'll give him credit. He kind of bursted onto the scene this year. That was nice. C.J. Stroud plays for Ohio State. 3 best wide receivers in college football right now. Bryce Young has Mitchie and Jamison Williams. I don't get it.
I understand.
I think what drives me nuts mostly, Jeff, is we associate the Heisman now with quarterbacks. And look, I can't argue with you. 40 touchdowns, almost 4,000 yards, 4 interceptions, a 10-1 Alabama team. I can't argue. I can't. Those are solid stats. Even C.J. Stroud. 3,900 yards, 38 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I got it. But God damn it. Last I checked, the Heisman Award was who was most valuable, essentially, to their team. Who's the most valuable player, essentially. And if I take Bryce Young out of Alabama, I still think they win 10 games. If I take Matt Corral out of Ole Miss, I think they fall from a 10-win to probably a 7-6 win team. If I take Kenny Pickett out, they probably don't win as many games. I can make the argument for a lot of these guys, but Bryce Young, he's playing with the best offensive line in the nation. He's playing with almost the second best wide receiving core in college football. And I don't want to discredit him, but Jesus Christ, Aiden Hutchinson single-handedly beat Ohio State, 15 quarterback pressures. Talk about a Heisman moment. Kenneth Walker's had 3 Heisman moments, and we're talking, Bryce Young played like crap for 3.5 quarters against Auburn. He led 1 touchdown drive. They tied it at 10-10, and then they won in double overtime. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I still think Kenneth Walker is deserving of being first, Bryce Young second, and then Aiden Hutchinson third, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you're not crazy. Listen, I agree with you with the Hutchinson and Kenneth Walker. And in my opinion, I think you're listen, I understand Bryce Young, but the discrediting because of Alabama, in my opinion, this Alabama team this year is the worst team in about 4 years for me, in my opinion. I know I get it's Alabama. They should run the table, but if you realistically look at this roster, wide receiver-wise, you're not going to have a wide receiver probably go either. You might have one go late in the first round. Running back.
Mitchie's going to be a top 15 pick. And Jamison Williams, I don't even know if he's draft eligible, but he's a damn good player. And they're some of the best route runners in college football.
But and I get that. But also, I look at the guy throwing him the football, and that's kind of what it comes down to. Mechie, I respect, but with Kenneth Walker, the only thing is, talk about the most important.
Let's not call it the Heisman. Let's not call it the Heisman, and let's call it the best quarterback award.
No. Because I'm going to address
players who are playing just as high as of a level as the other quarterbacks who aren't quarterbacks, not getting snubbed basically. Why Hutchinson and Kenneth Walker are plus 2,000 on odds for the Heisman is beyond me.
No, and there's gonna be moments with Kenneth Walker. It's tough. Obviously, you talk about most important on his team, and he is very important, if not one of the most important players. But it's tough when with Kenneth Walker, there's games, I can name 2, I have them right here, that you still will win decisively, and Kenneth Walker doesn't have to go off. And there's instances like Ohio State where he gets hurt, you get blown out. So I get your point. But you're still winning 42-14 early in the season. Kenneth Walker, 7 attempts, 57 yards, and a touchdown. And I don't know if he got hurt in that game as well.
But see, that's the thing. Like, you can bring up Kenneth Walker being sat early on in the year, but I can tell you that, hey, Alabama put up 48 against Mercer. They didn't sit Bryce Young. Alabama put up 49 against Mississippi State. They put up 59 against North Mexico State. Like, they had cupcakes on their schedule too. And that's when they put up the most points they scored all year. And then you look at their actual schedule. When they played SEC teams outside of Tennessee, they weren't scoring highly in games outside of Tennessee.
And listen, Kenneth Walker to me, though, I get what you're saying. It's just, at the end, in my opinion, if I had to put money on it, I'm going Bryce Young. And it's hard because I don't want to discredit Kenneth Walker. It's not what I'm doing. Like, I still believe he's behind Bryce Young. But it's hard for me to realistically say, like, and I get he was injured against Ohio State, but I can't, it's hard for me just to turn a blind eye and say, well, he was injured, I'm willing to give him the rest of the season. Like, I have the Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry. I did some research. I want to pull up what did their end of the years look like when they won Heismans. I just wanted to look. So for Derrick Henry, we'll go through the last couple games of the year. This is what he went for, and I'm sure there's going to be opportunities for Kenneth Walker to eat. He obviously had a great game last week, but 271 yards, 200 yards, 158 yards in all multiple touchdown games, in over 30 attempts. So obviously Derrick Henry did the work. We get that. Now let's look at Mark Ingram. And this is to your point, which I think he has a chance because of this. Mark Ingram in his last 3 games against Auburn, 16 attempts, 30 yards. So he had a down game and followed it up with 2 back-to-back 100-yard games, and he won the Heisman. So to your credit, there is a chance for Kenneth Walker to sneak in there. My opinion is I just think Bryce Young has a moment available for him. If he loses to Georgia, I mean, it's going to be hard for me to sit in this chair and defend him. But I just think that momentum, it's fallen in Bryce Young's favor. And I think if he has a big game, I don't see how you can. And that's all due respect to Kenneth Walker. So everything's in a question. You don't know.
Look, I mean, that's fair. But I could make the argument Kenneth Walker's played really 10 games, not 11. And he's at 1,636 yards and 19 touchdowns. Mark Ingram in 14 games had 1,650 yards and 17 touchdowns on a way to a national championship and a Heisman. Like, again, I get what you're trying to say, but I don't like how easily he's being written off right now, especially by national media. I don't think they're right on this. I'm tired of a quarterback award. It's not a quarterback award. It's, if I take Kenneth Walker off of Michigan State, they're not winning 10 games. They're not beating Michigan. They're not beating Penn State. They're not beating Miami on the road. They're not beating Northwestern to open up the year. So that's my piece on Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's still ruled out. I think Kenneth Walker still is a Heisman candidate. That's for sure. But like I said, we'll probably have to revisit this conversation again when after this weekend, because everything's going to get interesting. It's going to get real interesting.
Yes, it will. When we come back, we will continue to talk about Michigan State, but stick around, you Michigan fans, because we are talking about you too. That is all coming up after the break. But first, we got to go to my boy Fish with our friends at MyBookie.
Thank you, Kennedy Broadwell. MyBookie, the place where every single person in the whole wide world should go for sports betting, because no matter where you live, whether you live in Germany, Belgium, Switzerland, America, Canada, Mexico, wherever, China, Japan, wherever, you can use mybookie.com or mybookie.ag to win awesome prizes and win some money on sports betting. Like the Wings yesterday, they won. You could have got some money on that. You can bet money on Manchester United Arsenal today. Maybe you want them to get relegated. Most people do. Pistons, they play the Suns tonight. Upset? Maybe, probably not. Formula 1, Saudi Arabia, NBA, NHL, college football, Michigan, Cincinnati, go Bearcats, OHIO, any of the teams you want to win. Set yourself up for success by doubling your first deposit when using the promo code Woodward at MyBookie. That's promo code Woodward to double your initial deposit all the way up to $1,000. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Michigan Gambling Hotline, 1-800-270-7117 if you have a gambling problem.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
It's that time of the year again. Time for our second annual Stuff a Studio with Woodward Sports. Last year, Metro Detroit came together to help make the largest single toy donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. This year, we make it even bigger. Stuff a Studio is happening December 13th through the 17th at the Woodward Sports Studios in Birmingham. The children in Mott Children's Hospital fight so hard all year. Now it's up to all of us to help bring a smile to their faces. So while you're out holiday shopping, make sure you pick up an extra toy or two and help us spread some love to Metro Detroit this season. We look forward to seeing you December 13th through the 17th as we stuff our studio with Woodward Sports and Myre.
Woodward Sports Network, let's go! Ho, 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 ho!
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Woodward Show. Thanks for coming back and joining us. All right, Michigan obviously 11-1 heading into the Big Ten championship in Indianapolis. Michigan State 10-2 headed to whatever bowl game. But Jeff, who, in your humble opinion, had the better season? Was it U of M or was it MSU?
Well, this is an interesting question because obviously you want to say MSU just because of the overachieving, but if I'm talking about who's had the better season, it's Michigan. I mean, these guys are playing for a national championship, so that's the clear answer. And you beat your rival. Finally, big game, a team that we've often said the best team in college football before the Michigan loss. So that's the better season, more impactful wins. Obviously, you lose to Mel Tucker, I get that, but you led in that game. So there is something to take out of it, and that's your only loss on the season. So better season, it's definitely Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines, but an impressive season to me. You can't discredit what Mel Tucker's done. Obviously, second year, finding players like Kenneth Walker, and you're missing Jalen Naylor, and you're still finding a way to win with Peyton Thorne, who a lot of people were high on, but you weren't sure what you were getting this year, and you got a guy who is a fantastic starting quarterback. So MSU has had a great year, no doubt in that, but Michigan clearly, obviously if they lose to Iowa, we can revisit this conversation, but in my opinion, they're going to beat Iowa. They're going to have a real shot to make noise in the playoff. That's what matters, and that's what matters to Jim Harbaugh. That's what they're concerned of over in Ann Arbor. So if you're looking at measuring who's had a better season, you have to look at where you're going and where you are. Michigan State will play in a bowl game, obviously, and that's a good year for Mel Tucker, but Jim Harbaugh's contending, and that's what, if you're a Wolverine fan, you want to see. So in my opinion, if you're looking at better season, it's the Wolverines, and as much credit is because I was high. I was talking about, Coach of the Year. Obviously, I was on Mel Tucker and how he deserved it, but at the same time, if we're talking about better season, I don't know how you don't say the Wolverines, considering where they are now, and they control their own destiny. They just have to go out and beat 15th ranked Iowa, and the rest is history. So that's who I think. It's definitely Michigan, Adam, and I'm sure you would agree with me. I'm expecting.
Yeah, this was tricky, and I prefer to answer this question after Saturday. Hopefully Michigan win, and then you could say they easily had the better season, but they haven't won the Big East, they haven't won the Big Ten championship game yet. So until they do, I'm going to lean Michigan State. And I'm going to lean Michigan State because I think it's very important to remember where we started the year. Michigan State was unranked, expected 3, 4, 5 wins at the most. If you could get 6, you would consider Mel Tucker a success, and it would have been an overachievement. For them to have started the season 8-0, beat Michigan after being down 16 going into the fourth quarter, it was an unbelievable performance. So many things had to go their way for them to win that game, and they did. And then they lost to Purdue. Yes, they got smacked up by Ohio State. But give me a 10-2 season where I'll be honest. I felt they were coached up extremely high. I don't think they were as talented as Ohio State or Michigan. Having said that, I think Michigan deserve a ton of credit under Jim Harbaugh. The fact that they came out and won their division, finally beat Ohio State, finished the season 11-1. I mean, I talked about it before the season. How many times has Harbaugh brought you to the final game of the year with an opportunity to win the division? And he's done it 3 times, and this year now the 4th. And he's lost all the years previously except this one. So it was a huge year. I'm not going to be mad at anybody taking either side. My preference right now is going to be Michigan State and Mel Tucker. Having said that, when and if Michigan win on Saturday, then I'll gladly say they've had the better year because they need to win the Big Ten championship game. If they don't, I can't even fathom what I'm going to be thinking on Monday morning.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, like it's tough because you sound like an idiot if I sit up here and say Jim Harbaugh's had the better season, they lose against Iowa. But that's me basing it off of I think they will beat them, and if they do beat them, then obviously we both agree. It's a tough conversation though, because both these guys clearly, I mean, you talk Jim Harbaugh, obviously he's gotten 10-win seasons in the past, but beating Ohio State to me so significant. Now having a chance, clearly, I think Michigan this year. I mean, this is one of the better teams, if not. I mean, I would love to see this team play Georgia. So that's why I base a better season off of just where they are now. But no doubt, Mel Tucker, I mean, the job he's done, you can't go. We can have a whole segment just talking about Mel Tucker, to be honest. So it's an interesting conversation. I cannot wait to find out the results this Saturday because it'll clear up the conversation a little bit more. But credit to both schools. I mean, if you're a Michigan or a Michigan State fan, I mean, you might be mad if you're a Michigan fan at the loss to State. But other than that, you're smooth sailing. So we'll see. This Saturday is gonna answer a lot of questions for me, honestly.
I want your take because you're a neutral, you're an Ohio State fan, and you're a Notre Dame fan. So between the two, who do you think had a better season?
That's hard to say because the expectations for Michigan State were so low. What'd they have them at? They were thinking they were going to be, a 5-7 win team. They clearly surpassed that. Mel Tucker has done an absolutely amazing job with turning around that entire program. I mean, cannot be more proud of that guy. Everybody, I think, in the state has mad respect for him. So I don't want to take that away from them. They obviously had an awesome season. They beat Michigan. But Michigan finally won the game. First time in 10 years. I can't take that away from Jim Harbaugh and his squad either. They're going to Indy for the Big Ten Championship, which I lived in Indy for 4 years, and I never saw him there. So it's pretty big. I don't know. That's really hard to say. I think I've got to give it to U of M, especially if they pull it out come Saturday against Iowa. So it's gotta go to Michigan right now. But if Michigan loses, then I'm giving it back to Michigan State because then Jim choked on another big game.
And it's interesting, Adam, too, because someone mentioned in the comments, and I thought this was real interesting, actually, the narrative before the season. Like, you look at Mel Tucker, no one expected him to win 10 games, obviously, this early. And then you look at Jim Harbaugh, the whole, how many wins is he getting before? And is he going to get fired if he loses to Ohio State or loses to his rivals, Michigan State and Penn State? Now he has a chance to go right to the playoffs. So it's crazy how the tides have turned for both of the coaches in general. Like our prediction, Mel Tucker flipped. You got the Jim Harbaugh proving all the haters wrong. So, I mean, I like you said earlier, Adam, I would not be mad if you decide either one. Right now, obviously. I mean, the Iowa game's big for Michigan. If they get a win, they have a better season. But, my God, right now, it's tough. Both of them, impressive, especially with the narratives. That's big. This
has been my thought all season, Jeff. Is it possible that maybe outside of like Georgia, college football just isn't, or maybe there's just not one team or two teams that we're used to seeing that are like mega dominant this year? Like, is it just that no one's that good this year? It's weird. It feels like a weird year for me, and I feel like the NFL is kind of trending in the same way where no one's like really sticking out as like, oh, they're kicking ass. Like, that's the team to beat.
Some teams have looked fragile this year, especially Ohio State. Obviously, 2 losses with that team. Defensively, couldn't figure it out. But USC, they're going to be on the map. LSU is going to be in the conversation. So over the course, I mean, this year is a good year, a perfect year for Jim Harbaugh and Michigan to make some noise. I still think, and I'm going to say this till the end of the playoff, but I would love a matchup eventually with Georgia. I want that smoke because I want to see how Michigan plays because they're similar teams in the fact that they don't rely on their quarterback. You can win games defensively and by running the football. So I can't wait. I think Michigan has a real shot. I mean, especially if the standings fall their way and they get matchups they like. But yeah, Alabama, I still think, I mean, they have a good team, but in years past, it's a down year for them. So
for sure.
It's a good year for college football, definitely.
Your thoughts, Adam? Are you alive?
Yeah, I'm alive. Look, I think you guys, we're all on the same page. Expectations played a big role in who you're going to perceive had a better year. Having said that, at the end of the day, you know, the team that wins a championship and gets to the college football playoff, I mean, that's the team everybody wants to be. For the last 7, 8, 10 years, everybody wanted to be Ohio State, Wisconsin, Michigan State at times when they were getting to the playoff and winning the Big Ten championship. So, you know, that's what you want to be doing. And for Harbaugh, yes, you finally did it. That's great. go win on Saturday, and next year walk into the last game of the year with another opportunity to get to the title game. And if Jim is consistently doing that, which he's now done 4 really of 6 years, because I don't even count the COVID year, if he can do that and continue to do that, I mean, this guy is, I think, extremely underappreciated and undervalued. I really love the job he's done at the program. The fact that he looked himself in the mirror and hired 15 new coaches onto his staff that were 45 or younger, fresh ideas. It's extremely important. And the Mike McDonald hire, I can't get over. It's unbelievable.
I saw a tweet the other day that made me think, and I can't answer this question because I'm a little biased, but it said it's better for college football when Ohio State is having an off year. Do you guys agree with that? Because obviously, like you said earlier, Jeff, Ohio State's been a little shaky this year. Their defense looked immaculate against Michigan State, and then it didn't look so good against Michigan. So we kind of didn't know exactly what Ohio State was this season. But, Jeff, is it better for college football when Ohio State isn't that dominant team that we're used to seeing? Yeah,
I mean, I like to compare it. I mean, I'm a big NBA fan, so as a Big Ten conference fan, and I watch a ton of Big Ten games, you look at the NBA in years past when the Warriors were dominating the West, and finally, when they're not as good for a couple of years, it's exciting, of course. I mean, this year, to have Michigan with a realistic shot, Ohio State out of the picture, it's great. I mean, just for all college football fans, I mean, Ohio State fans it might be a little bitter, but if you look at just, it's something new, and that's what I like as a college football fan. Like, Ohio State's always in that conversation, so why not Michigan? And they proved it this year, and that's what you like. You like when the underdogs finally get over the hump, and Jim Harbaugh this year with that team. I mean, I don't care if you're any fan of any team in college football. It's great to see. I mean, it's entertaining to see. Even if you're a neutral like me, I mean, it's even better. So, what about you, Adam?
I don't think it's the fact that Ohio State's having a down year. It's people want to see competition. And Ohio State, for the longest time, has just been wiping the floor with everybody in the Big Ten.
Right.
Ryan Day started 29-0 prior to Saturday in the Big Ten. It's not that Ohio State needed to have a down year. It's when are teams in the Big Ten going to get good enough? And you finally saw it this year. Michigan stepped up to the plate, and they did it. But nobody complains about Georgia, or I shouldn't say Georgia. Nobody complains about Alabama's success and their dominance. Why?
Oh, I
because
did.
Georgia. Excuse me?
I used to. It was annoying. Everyone always losing to Bama. I was over it.
Well, look, now you have Georgia. They're the best team in the country. You have Texas A&M at times. There's competition in the SEC. In the Big Ten, it was just Ohio State or nobody. And that's the frustrating part. So I get why people say what they say, but it's not that Ohio State had to have a down year. Ohio State can win 10 games for the next 5 years. That's fine. As long as Michigan State's winning 10 or 11 and Michigan's winning 10 or 11 and there's parity, not just this, Ohio State won again. That's what people want to see. People want to see competition, and they want to see different teams appearing in the Big Ten Championship, and they want to see different teams in the college football playoff. Nobody wants to see Alabama, Notre Dame, Georgia, and Ohio State every single year in the college football playoff.
Right. That's my thoughts exactly. It's consistency when you look at all these good teams, and it's great. Like Michigan, obviously if you're from Michigan, it's even better. But I think across college football, you're excited. I mean, it doesn't matter what fan you are. It's something new, obviously. And that's the point I'm trying to hit on is, and Jake said it best in the chat, it's not even just college football, it's sports in general. You love when Goliath's knocked down, and especially in the Big Ten, Ohio State has been Goliath. So finally. So great year. It's going to be entertaining. Can't wait till this weekend.
All right, well, speaking of the college football playoffs, those rankings came out from the committee Tuesday. We will get into all of those next. I'm sure these guys will have some issues somewhere, so stick around for that. But first, our friends at Guardian Alarm.
Well, we talk about Ohio State's defense letting you down. Guardian Alarm, they won't let you down. They get it. Good defense on and off the field helps you feel secure. Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe, like real state-of-the-art technology. If you need your home safe, Guardian Alarm is who you need to call, because they let you check in on your home, control lights and temperatures, detect smoke or carbon monoxide. It will even let you lock and unlock doors. Call 800-STAY-OUT today. That's 800-STAY-OUT today. Guardian Alarm has been trusted for over 90 years at keeping families safe.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. and the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Woodward Show. Good morning. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. We are happy to have you all here and listening with us. Make sure you're chiming in the chat. Obviously, we've got Mailbag coming up in our last segment, so start thinking of your questions now as they pop into your head. All right, the CFP rankings came out from the committee Tuesday. The list goes as followed. At 1, we've got Georgia, then Michigan, Bama, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State at 5, Notre Dame at 6. From there, we have Ohio State at 7, Ole Miss, Baylor, and Oregon. Michigan State falls right outside of the top 10 at number 11. You guys, your thoughts on this list?
I think what's really crazy to think about is there actually is an opportunity potentially for Notre Dame to get in. They don't even have their head coach.
Let's go. We have a head coach now, Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, whatever. We're going to talk about Notre Dame later, but I just think it's so funny.
It's not funny. It's not funny at all. It's not funny at all.
It's hilarious. Listen, if I offer you $100 million, you would have left.
I would go. I know. We had this conversation on the phone yesterday. You pissed me off. Keep going.
So, because it's the truth.
I wouldn't leave you for $1 million.
Until somebody hands you $100 million, none of you can talk. Shut the hell up. Every single player, every single person out there on social media, until somebody offers you $100 million in use of a private jet, you shut the hell up and don't tell people what the hell they should do with their life and how they should go about leaving another school. Having said that, let's get to the college football playoff rankings. Cincinnati, I'm so happy. Cincinnati at number 4. I couldn't be any happier. It's all setting up to be a classic finish. I'm so excited. Ideally, Georgia loses to Alabama this weekend, and then Michigan moves up to 1 with a win, and then it's Alabama at 2, Georgia at 3, and even if Cincinnati wins, if Oklahoma State dominates Baylor in the Big 12 title game,
dreams come true.
Goodbye, Cincinnati. 13-0, get the hell out of my face. The All-American Conference, whatever bullshit conference you're in, nobody cares. I hope they don't make it. I'm really pulling for it. I'd rather see, honestly, at this point, let me go through the rankings. I'd rather see Louisiana 11-1, ranked 24 in the college football playoff. Cincinnati. So.
Houston's no scrub. They're 16th ranked, 11-1.
Oh, shut up. Houston's no scrub. Just like people said SMU weren't scrubs because they were ranked in the top 45. But out of here.
I'm just saying, this matchup this weekend, Cincinnati-Houston, listen, it's going to be interesting. If Cincinnati loses this, I'm going to be banging on the drums. I'll be excited because, we'll again, talk about having new teams, Oklahoma State and the college football playoff, sign me up. I'm good, especially if they control their own destiny. Everybody does, especially. So, Cincinnati, get your ass out of here. I don't have a problem. Oklahoma State, slide right up. Notre Dame, if they get in, I mean, we'll have that conversation later. It's going to be a little odd, but that's why I like Oklahoma State. I think they deserve it. They had a great year this year. I mean, same with Cincinnati, but no, they're frauds. I mean, we've been saying this all year.
You guys know that I'm big on narrative, and I'm big on, things playing out in a certain way for news standpoints, for headlines and stuff like that. And I don't think there's anything more befitting for all of those stupid, idiotic, complaining Notre Dame fans than for them to get into the college football playoff and get mauled by 90. I think that would be so poetic. I would pay to see that. I would love to see Notre Dame get in, play a number 1 ranked Georgia or Michigan, and absolutely get slaughtered by 70. I mean, that would be an early Christmas gift for me. So I have scenarios in my head that I'm praying for. One of being Cincinnati not getting in, and 2, Notre Dame getting in and losing by 70. That way, all the Notre Dame fans that were complaining about their coach taking a $100 million check can go F themselves.
Yeah, I cannot. This ranking is going to be shaping up real interesting in the next couple after this weekend. You look at Baylor versus Oklahoma, obviously 9-5 matchup. Georgia and Alabama, which if Georgia beats Alabama, that changes a whole lot of things too, which will be interesting, real interesting. And then now you have Houston versus Cincinnati, which I don't think Cincinnati, if they do, it'll be close. And then you have Iowa and Michigan, which I think Michigan will win that one. We can all agree there. So after this weekend, God, it's going to answer a lot of questions. And finally, I'm just waiting on this committee because there's been so much inconsistency this year with the committee, whether they're talking about if a team doesn't have a head coach or if they're playing well, the results, what do the results look like? Like there's so many deciding factors. There's not really something I put my finger on it with this committee. So I wish I could really explain what would happen with this whole ranking system. But as long as Cincinnati finds their way out of that top four, I think we're all on the same page, and they get their one loss, which I think they well deserve at some point in the season. So as long as Oklahoma State gets in there four, I think I'm a happy man. I'll take it. I'll go to bed at night very comfortable.
We're missing out on too is the committee have lined this up in a really interesting way. Let's not forget the first iteration of the college football playoff. TCU was ranked number 4, and they won the final game of the year by 50, and they were still pushed out. And with Cincinnati, they don't control their destiny. If Oklahoma State wins the Big 12 and Alabama wins,
they're out.
I'm sorry, but the Bearcats are out. And if Georgia wins, the Bearcats are 100% in. If Georgia wins, then it's likely the rankings are likely going to finish Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Cincinnati 3, Oklahoma State 4, given that those respective teams win their conference.
And I think as college football fans, we're all conjoined in celebrating if that happens. Because Oklahoma State, I think they deserve it. They win, especially when their conference, definitely deserve it. And then Cincinnati, your big win was this year at home at Notre Dame. Okay. But in Notre Dame, you can make the same case. A cupcake schedule, the only game they'll lose is at Cincinnati, or it was at home against Cincinnati. So either way, I don't see a case for either of those teams. It's clear as day to me, Oklahoma State, if they get the job done this weekend, which I think they will, then put them in 4. I think there's no questions for me with this. I don't know how the committee works, but no questions for me. Get Cincinnati out of there. And then the top 3, I don't care. The order doesn't really matter to me, but I think the top 3 teams stay. It's really just a Cincinnati discussion, which is really interesting. And some people are on the train of Cincinnati. They do deserve it, obviously undefeated even if they win this weekend. But no, difficulty of schedule. We've talked about this all year, Adam, is so important. Like to me, especially as a college football fan, Oklahoma State has more big wins than Cincinnati. They have one loss, but they've played tougher opponents. So that's what comes with it. If Cincinnati were to play the opponents they played, they'd probably have 3 losses. So it is what it is. Cincinnati, I don't really have respect for them, but you're undefeated. So at the end of the day, it is.
I'll answer Damien's question. How can y'all say Cincinnati had a weak schedule when in reality, if we are being fair, the whole college schedules, if every conference are weak as hell, I don't even know. The English makes no sense. Having said that, I'll explain to you why Cincinnati shouldn't be taken seriously and should be kicked out if Bama wins and Oklahoma State wins. When you play in a weak conference, and I understand they're moving to the Big 12, which isn't even a bit, after this year, Texas and Oklahoma are gone, so good luck there. But it's tough for me to take Cincinnati seriously, and I don't know how you want me to. We've seen this play out. Boise State, Notre Dame, multiple times. They just get crushed in the college football playoffs.
It's depressing.
And look, it's really frustrating. Nobody wants to watch a New Year's Day game and watch a team lose by freaking 40 in one of the most important games of the year. So look, if you want Cincinnati to go in, I'm all for expanding it to 8 teams. I really am. I think that's a great system. It at least guarantees the best 5 teams in the country get in, and then you can debate the other 3. Having said that, if Oklahoma State wins, Alabama wins, the top 4 should be Michigan at 1, Alabama at 2, Georgia at 3, and Oklahoma State at 4. That's 100%. The matchup you're likely getting.
And that's the matchup I think we'd all like to see, especially more than anything with Cincinnati. So, yeah, that's interesting, Damien. As it's right on cue, right when I was talking about people talking about Cincinnati, Damien chimes in. And that's how some people do feel around college football. And God, if you watch this show, then you beg to differ, definitely. But yeah, I think I'm hoping the Georgia-Alabama game is interesting. I mean, to see how that plays out in terms of the rankings. But yeah, Michigan, to see them at 1, I mean, come on, that would be great, and that's something we can all hang our hats on. And I don't know if Jim Harbaugh, you end up number 1 in the playoff rankings, you beat Iowa, then we have to sit up here and you definitely say the guys had the better season than Michigan State. I mean, that's he's even proved me wrong. I mean, this year you're talking about I sat up here on this desk and said he wouldn't beat Ohio State. He's done that, and if he has a chance to go to the playoff and really make noise, like, my God, I can't say enough about him. I mean, that's great to see. So he controls his own destiny. So we'll see this weekend.
Andy, look, Notre Dame and Ohio State really don't have a chance to get in. Notre Dame needs 3 teams in the top 4 basically to lose, including Cincinnati.
2, ding ding.
2.
Well, no, they need 3, guys. They need 3. They need Bama, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma State to lose. Realistically, for them to get in. Well, no, you're right. You're right. Technically, 2. Excuse me.
Thank you.
Adam, what are your thoughts on an Alabama versus Michigan matchup? Like in the very first game, what do you think? I mean, I see people talking about it. That would be interesting.
I don't think there's a way Michigan can play Alabama.
Or at least in the national championship.
Oh, in the national title game?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that would be a hell of a watch. I mean, remember a few
Holy
years
hell.
ago, Michigan opened up the year against Alabama. I want to say 6 years ago.
Yeah.
That was an ass kicking.
I think if there's a year to beat them, it's this year though. With the team they have.
Look, I think people are sleeping on Alabama. Everybody looks at Alabama and they're like, "Oh, it's not the same Alabama." They are really good. They're 11-1. Their sole loss is to Texas A&M, who I can make the argument is a top 20 team. Although they're 8-4, they've lost some really close games. Texas A&M really were their quarterback away from contending for the SEC. Having said that, look, I like Bama. I think they're really good. Let's just get to the college football playoff. Let's win the Big Ten, okay? Let Michigan win the Big Ten. You can celebrate that, and for the first time in college, or I should say Michigan football history, they're going to be in the college football playoff if they win Saturday. So, one step at a time.
Yeah.
I like that from a guy who respects Michigan. You're being realistic, and that's what we like, because Michigan fans are all around especially Michigan, are already talking about it. So I can't wait. Just need to fast forward these next couple weeks and months so we can see these things, see these matchups. I can't wait.
All right, you guys, when we come back, we will be talking about Dan Campbell and his play calling, so make sure you stick around for that. But now I got to get to something that is important, but maybe not so fun to talk about. I think everyone is aware what happened at Oxford. We now have 4 students dead. Unfortunately, one of those students, Tate Myre, put his own life on the line to save some of his classmates, teachers, faculty, staff. And we're all kind of at a loss right now, wondering what we can do for Oxford. But one way you can help make a difference is this wonderful petition to rename the Oxford football field as the Tate Myre Stadium. If you can, you guys, please go to www.change.org and sign the petition. Obviously, we can't bring anybody back, but we can make sure that the victims and Tate are never forgotten. So please go to change.org and sign this petition if you feel so inclined. All right, we will see you right after the break.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
It's Adam, Jeff, and Kennedy. Mornings on the Woodward Sports Network.
Welcome back, you guys. Some interesting comments coming from Dan Campbell. He says that he will continue play calling for the team. He says, I'm doing what I feel is best for the team. This is not about me, and this is not about my ego. Jeff, do you think DC is making the right call here based on what we've seen thus far?
I mean, to be honest, I respect his consistency because I think I would be more worried if he took play calling duties and gave them right back because it'd be even more of a circus. But I will say this. I mean, the Lions, listen, let's just read off the ranks. Points per game, they're 30th. Total offense, they're damn near 30th. And third down offense, they're 31st. So it's like I don't care who's calling plays at this point. I mean, you're horrendous with either one. My question would be is how do they improve from here? And that's what I'm looking to see. I mean, obviously the first game he play called was against Pittsburgh, took the ball completely out of Jared Goff's hands, so or Tim Boyle's hands. So at the same time, it's you want to see something. You want to see results, obviously, but at the same time, it's what do you really want to see with this team? I mean, it's despicable all year. The only thing really results you've been able to see is Aaron Glenn and on the defensive side of the ball. But this team needs to get things together and at least produce something. Scoring 15 points a game in this league, you're going to go winless. I mean, unless you get a team like the Ravens, who you win, you win by a touchdown when your quarterback throws 4 interceptions. It's very unlikely. It hasn't been done in years. So this is tough for me, but I will say this to kind of just hammer home this point. Dan Campbell, him calling plays, I'm not going to sit up here and say he's an idiot, but at the same time, it's how long will he continue to call plays if they look this bad? That's the question I have, because Anthony Lynn, you went 9 games with him looking that bad. Now you're at Dan Campbell, you look bad, but you're still competing in these games. If he's able to get a win somewhere in the season, a win or two, then it's justified, obviously. But at this point, I mean, they're both winless, so it's hard for me to pick either one. At this point, throw the play calling duties over to Deuce Staley. I could give to a rat's ass, to be honest, because I haven't seen anything to where I sit here and I'm like, okay. I mean, you saw in Thanksgiving, you saw them at least throwing the ball more downfield, but you haven't really seen a whole lot in general, so it's hard for me to say who I want calling plays. I think the problem I have is how better can Dan Campbell get at play calling. We're 10, 11 games into the season. We're coming near the back half of the season. I mean, the only way I'm going to sit here and defend him is if he gets a win or two. Other than that, they're both equally just as bad. And I don't think Dan Campbell should be calling plays to begin with. I think you should have already had an offensive coordinator that you can just put the job in his hands and not have to worry. Like, you think Dan Campbell, I mean, I'm sure he's aware of what they're doing defensively, but I'm sure he understands. And Glenn has this. That's his side of the ball. And I get Dan Campbell is a tight end. He's an offensive player, but that doesn't give him the necessarily the right to have to step in and call plays and take over the offense. I think they said Anthony Lynn's just working with the run game and just certain protections. I mean, that's really all his job is. I mean, that's sad. I mean, you brought a guy in to call plays, and now you have Dan Campbell, who's never been a coordinator. Never been. He's been an assistant coach under Sean Payton, wasn't calling plays there. Tight ends coach, and was an interim head coach. No experience whatsoever. And I guess, I mean, if you're going to look at the positives, at least you're getting experience on a winless team, but it's like, what are we doing? It probably doesn't make us look any better than we already do. So to finish the season, I just want to see something. Get a win. That's the only thing that's going to be justifiable. Nothing else. I mean, if you lose games by a field goal or by a touchdown, I'm not going to sit here and say, hammer home, Dan Campbell should be offensive coordinator or calling plays. So I don't care, to be honest, Adam. That's my opinion in all of this. I don't care who's calling plays, because equally they're just as bad. If Dan Campbell can get a win, maybe I'll give him a pass. But they need to find someone who Dan Campbell doesn't have to worry about. I've been saying that all year, that this isn't his type of, this isn't what he does. I mean, we brought him in not to call plays. That's not why you bring Dan Campbell in. He's more of a, like Corey said, overcorrection from Matt Patricia, someone who you went away from the coordinator, the typical style. You're trying to go into the direction of a leader, a guy who can quiet the noise and just be, a great representation of your franchise. You're winless. So it hasn't been going well, and we'll see what they do in the offseason. I've talked to Corey already about this on the Anthony Lynn news, and we'll see who they get or what their plan is in the offseason. But right now, I could give a rat's ass at them. I don't care who's calling plays, because it's just as bad.
It's really bad. Look, it's a joke. It really is. But I don't want to sit here on a Thursday and just bash him. What I found interesting in his comments is he said, "I'm doing what I feel is best for the team, quote unquote. This is not about me. This is not about my ego." I want to know how that question was asked to the point where he felt he had to answer it that way. That kind of got my attention. It's not about me. It's not about my ego. That's really interesting.
Maybe
last I checked.
Is he talking about turning the play calling back over to Anthony Lynn? It's not about my ego, like taking over still the play calling.
I'm not sure. I'd like to know more on that, but look, he's not any better than Anthony Lynn, nor is he qualified to be calling plays. For everybody that says Anthony Lynn was horrible, we can all agree it was really bad. Having said that, it wasn't this bad. Anthony Lynn was moving the ball downfield, and they had one of the worst red zone offenses in the NFL. That's the reality. And look, Dan Campbell, you got to go get a young, innovative, offensive-minded coordinator. That's what you need to get. You pair that with Aaron Glenn, I think you have a respectable team next year. But look, I think him calling plays it's really embarrassing. It really is. It says what he thinks about Anthony Lynn. It says what he thinks about the offense, and it tells me that they have no idea what they're doing in the coaching room outside of Aaron Glenn. It's really embarrassing, and I wish there was another way I could say it, and maybe not as harsh of a way, but it's pathetic. It really is. I don't understand how anybody thinks this is normal. I'll keep saying it. Go find me the situation where a guy that's never called plays before, midway into the year, starts calling plays and puts out 3 of the most disgusting game plans and play calling we've seen all year. Dude has no idea what he's doing. He's learning on the job. You guys can tell me how great he is all he wants, and he's a kneecap biter, but he can bite kneecaps. He's not winning football games right now. That's pathetic. It's really pathetic to watch.
I looked it up. I don't know what context or what the question was, but Dan Campbell has come out and said that he regrets 2 plays that he has called. The one being on 3rd and 32 when he called the shotgun handoff from his own 49-yard line that gained 1 yard and forced the Lions punt on Thanksgiving. And the other being against, let's see here, he would like to redo the 3rd and 10 pass to Trinity Benson that went for 5 yards in the 4th quarter of a tie game with the Steelers. Specifically, he said he wished he would have called the play from a different formation and from a different hash mark. So he's only finding 2 plays that he's got an issue with. Jeff, any thoughts there?
Well, yes, obviously, new to play calling, there's going to be mistakes. So it's going to be interesting to see how he develops over the course of the year. But Dan Campbell, I don't necessarily want to say I'm not a fan of him calling plays, but I get the reason why he did it. And Anthony Lynn alluded to it earlier when they first announced that Dan Campbell would be calling plays, that if he was winless, he would want to make changes too. And I get that, but it's sad that you have him calling plays when he's never had that in his past. But it's just, it is what it is. As a Lions fan, you're in for a whole lot, especially in a season where you haven't won. There's going to be things that I wouldn't expect dysfunction, but I mean, they're trying new things, so I can't hate it that much. But now that me and Adam have gotten our opinions out of the way, and we've been discussing this for so long about Dan Campbell and just his play calling duties, we got a guest and someone that I want to get his opinion so bad about this situation. Dan Campbell, continue to call plays, stick, obviously big Lions fan. I need your thoughts on this, man.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Good morning. First of all, Dan Campbell calling plays reminds me a lot of anybody that's trying to start up their own business, and it's something that I think some people in this office have experienced. When you feel that you have to do everything. And that's a scary situation because you bring people in, you bring, experienced people in to insulate Dan Campbell because he's a first-year head coach, and then he takes that power away from him. And we haven't really seen leaps and bounds growth from it. But at the same time, you understand the guy's the guy. And if you're the guy, you got to be the guy. If at the end of the day, all the decisions fall on you, you might as well take the burden as well. Mm-hmm. I understand what he's doing. I just don't think it's productive because all you're doing is enabling the person that's supposed to do the job. You're just taking that away from them. And now what the hell do they do on the team?
Right.
Like, what does your offensive coordinator do?
And you're basing firing him off of 8-9 game sample size rather than the entirety of the season.
Exactly. And if things improved immediately and we saw a turnaround, I'd be all for this. But I just think it's Dan Campbell feeling like, listen, at the end of the day, I'm responsible for this, so at least I can have control of this. Right. And I don't hate him for that, but I also don't love that for the Lions.
Yeah, we're similar in that. What do you think, Adam? on the whole him just not. It shouldn't have.
He's gonzo now, Jeff. Everyone, Adam. Oh, you're still there. You said bye in the chat. I was like, oh, he's off.
I know. I wasn't expecting Jeff to ask me a question. I'll say this before
I didn't know you were leaving. Oh, okay.
One stick. I love your sweater.
Yeah, that sweater looks great.
Thanks. My mom just got it for me.
I think Stick made a really good point. I think Stick made a really good point that people really need to listen back to, which is, when you start a new business, you feel like you have this obligation to do everything when people around you aren't maybe performing at the level you expect. But I think that's more of an indictment on you than it is the people around you. And I know I myself have learned that the hard way, and so is Stick. Is you know what, you are responsible for the success of those around you, and if you don't put them in a great situation to succeed, well, then at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to be held accountable, not Anthony Lynn, not the coordinators, not the assistants. It's always on the head coach at the end of the day. So, I mean, look, if he took over play calling and he looked extremely better, believe me, I'd be all for it, but it's actually looked worse. So I'm going to go now. You guys have a great rest of the day.
Feel better, buddy.
All right.
What a trooper, man. The fact that he's been on this whole week is...
I cannot wait. I get to take these things out of my ears. I hate them. Yay. All right, Stick. Well, we're happy to have you here. Sorry, Adam, that you're not feeling too hot. You guys, we have a very important and special announcement before we go to break. And that is that Samuel Fisherman Fisher has started his own Twitter account. So I need everyone. It took so much begging. I was like, Fish, you need a Twitter. So it's finally happened. You can follow him at Fish Kiwi. Not kiwi like the fruit. Kiwi
you can
like
say the fruit. It's fine.
What? No. What is it, Fish? Tell everyone what a kiwi is.
It's a bird. It's a bird in New Zealand.
It's a baby bird. Little bird.
Where is it from? Is it from New Zealand?
It is from New Zealand, yes.
There you go.
Let's go.
Follow Fish at Fish Kiwi on Twitter. Had to plug my boy really fast there before we go to break, which means I need to tell you guys about Foaling Warehouse. We were there the other day. So much fun. Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck, home of the original football bowling pin game called Foaling. Host your corporate party, team building event, or just come in with family and friends. There's two ways to play. $10 unlimited open play, which means you get to stay the whole time that they are open that day, or you can rent a private lane for $120 for up to 10 people for 2 hours. We have over 100 beers, our $2 mystery beer machine. Our boy Braylon Edwards was drinking a Colt 45 thanks to that thing.
Billy D.
Sawyer got a PBR. Nothing but the best in those $2 beer machines. And there are also multiple full bars there. You guys, you bring the food or have it delivered in, but make sure you go and get your full on and check it out at foalingwarehouse.com.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Good morning. Happy Thursday. I dodged a bullet here because we are going to talk Notre Dame, and Adam just logged off.
Why, you think I like Notre Dame?
Thank you. No, Adam is just extra mean to me.
You get a little ahead of yourself there, Kennedy.
Extra mean to me about it. He's like, oh, you Notre Dame fans are so stupid and annoying. So whatever. I didn't want to hear it from him this morning. But Notre Dame has officially named their he was the defensive coordinator, but now head coach Marcus Freeman, and thank God OC Tommy Rees gave an absolutely electric speech. He is staying on as well. But you guys, in your opinion, if they get there, should Notre Dame get into the college football playoffs without Brian Kelly?
Did you really just say electric speech?
It was. I almost cried.
The first 30 seconds of him, it was just reassuring. Guys, I'm happy to be here. Guys,
I wanted to let you guys know.
Guys, I really like it here. Guys, please
No, he
don't
was
leave the
throwing
program.
F-bombs.
Please
I
don't
loved
leave the
it.
program because I like it here. The guys like it here. We're a team still. Like, it was like a girl trying to save her relationship. That's what it was. It was, guys, please don't leave the program. We have. I promise we can win a national championship here.
That's right.
I watched that speech and I was dying laughing at that guy. He was so uncomfortable speaking to his players. You could tell that it was just an awkward situation for the entire room. And the poor guy is standing up there trying to convince these kids who sacrificed their scholarship and gave Notre Dame their life, who just got pillaged by their head coach, that it's okay, guys. We're going to be fine.
Because I'm here.
We're still here. Like, your OC's still here. Your DC's now your head coach. Nothing's going to change. It's like, everything has changed. What are you talking about?
Everything has changed. But let me say this. The people of Notre Dame are excited for Tommy Rees because we all know Brian Kelly was holding
They were
him.
excited when he was the quarterback, and he sucked then, too.
Listen to me. He is about to go off, and I know it. Everyone was saying Brian Kelly was kind of holding him back, and now it's his time to shine.
Brian Kelly was holding them back.
Yep.
All right, they're competing for national championships, getting in the college football playoffs. But Brian
All right,
Kelly,
you guys just
LSU
wait.
wants to pay
You
Brian
guys
Kelly
just
almost
wait.
$100 million. But, yeah, he was clearly holding that program back.
Definitely.
What is going on?
Not
Come
the
on.
program as a whole,
No,
but
just Tommy. Oh, yeah.
That's what the people
Well,
are saying. I'm excited.
You'd expect from the speech he had, he was getting promoted to head coach, but no, he's still offensive coordinator. So you know what? If he's okay with that, then
I'm still here, guys.
He's still here and he's committed. But no, if Marcus Freeman rumors they come into fruition, then I think that would be the right decision. I think Brian Kelly already offered him to be the highest paid defensive coordinator for LSU if he came, and he probably knows in his mind he has an ultimate shot to be that coach in Notre Dame. So he'll probably, like he said, he's staying there. But this is a depressing reality, like the whole Brian Kelly thing, leaving Notre Dame and then all the kids, the athletes. This is reality, and this isn't. I'm not going to sit here and blame Brian Kelly, and I'm not going to sit here and blame the kids. This is on the committee in general. I mean, it's their fault that the early signing period ends December 15th. Like Brian Kelly, if he wanted to get a head start on his class this year for LSU, he had to leave, and he had to go to LSU. And now you see it already. He's getting his staff together. He has to get a game plan together because what are you gonna? Okay, you coach Notre Dame. Let's say you don't go or you do go to a playoff. You miss out on a whole recruiting class, but you were loyal. Like, it's not how this works. He was offered $100 million. I get from his point of view, but I will say this: I get the students, the athletes' point of view, because that's sad that, the committee can ultimately discredit their body of work because of a missing head coach. I mean, that is depressing, but I'm not going to sit up here and crap on Brian Kelly. I mean, the guy made a right decision, and that's the reality of Division I college football. The December 15th, you got to get your guys, early recruitment. So Brian Kelly, if anything, he's thinking ahead. And he said, I watched his interview, he said, when I found out I was getting the LSU job, I was in California recruiting for Notre Dame. He was recruiting players for Notre Dame when he got the call. So, you know what? It is what it is. Marcus Freeman, credit to him, honestly. I mean, we talk about Luke Fickell being a possible candidate. I love Marcus Freeman. I think 35 years old. I mean, the question's about his age and everything, but if you can get that guy to be your head coach, you'll be just fine. But the Tommy Rees, I mean, I'm not going to look at that whole speech as anything. It's more so, where do they go from here? I'm going to be interested. But you just lost your coach, who had the most wins, obviously, in Notre Dame history, a multiple 10-win season. It's going to be hard to replicate that. Definitely.
Yeah, and, going back to that speech, I honestly, I didn't make it past the first 30, 45 seconds because I was like, is this all I'm going to hear? But, yeah, Notre Dame, I mean, they got to stable the ship, right? You got to make sure that these water levels aren't as choppy anymore. And one way to do that is keep familiar faces in there, the people that, your players are comfortable with. But are your players going to be inspired? Are they going to think that you're looking for that next guy to push them over the top? Or do the players have that much belief in the new guy that you're naming head coach? That's the question you got to ask yourself if you're the AD. Am I doing this just because I have no other options right now and I'm panicking and I just want things to calm down because my world just got flipped upside down? Or am I doing this because it's the best play for my team for the next 5 to 10 years?
Right.
And that we'll find out. That's what I love about sports is at the end of the day, we'll find out. The field will play. we'll know in 5 years if this was the right move. But in the moment, I don't know if this is. Sometimes if you just promote from within just to calm things down, you're really doing yourself a disservice because you really haven't done your due diligence. You should have had a list of potential head coaches already in mind, knowing that, hey, Brian Kelly's never going to leave, but he may leave. And you have to be ready as an AD. Like if I'm Michigan, even if I'm Michigan State, I love Mel Tucker, I love Jim Harbaugh, but I still have my top 5 list if those guys decide to take off. You got to be prepared for this, and maybe their guy was on the top of that list.
Right.
But I have a rough time considering that you can't even pick up the phone and call the dude from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
you can't. Right. You can't call Fickle. You can't see what's going on. You can't wait a couple weeks just to check out more options. And that's what scares me about a quick decision move like this and hiring in-house, because you really haven't had enough time to vet out other people.
Right. And the only decision in past college football history that I'll let slide is obviously the Bob Stoops retiring and giving the head coaching job, or at least advocating for Lincoln Riley. I mean, that guy was, 35 at the time. So there's instances, but in this instance, I agree with you 100%. Like, due diligence is a must, especially with Notre Dame. Like they want to keep and preserve. I mean, they are a big brand in college football. They're in all the movies. It's Notre Dame. I mean, clearly, you talk about the realistic shot of winning a championship. That's different. But in terms of just a brand, it's big. And I think doing your due diligence was necessary. There's tons of coaches. At least you can get in for an interview. And maybe the Marcus Freeman thing is the deal signed? Is that 100%, or is it just coaching the game, a potential playoff game?
I thought they named him as head coach
permanently. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Did they, Kennedy? Is he officially the new head coach? Yeah.
Okay. So then, our points still stand. Like the fact that there was no due diligence, it does concern me. But we'll see. Like you said, 5 years, you'll know. You get a 2-year sample size. I think Notre Dame, the AD, the athletic director, will look back and say, "Did I F up or did I not?" And I think that'll answer questions.
Yeah, and Kennedy, just so you know my background with Notre Dame, I got kicked out of an architecture camp there when I was a junior.
Tell everyone why.
Girls that can't handle their alcohol. Like that's why I got kicked out.
Yep.
Met some chicks. Her older brother went to Notre Dame, so he bought us a couple of cases of beer. Next thing you know, we're all drinking, having a good time at the lake, and I get a knock on my door about 2 a.m. from the police. One of the girls that we were drinking with, she got alcohol poisoning, had to get her stomach pumped and all types of stuff. And she was kind enough to name all of us that were drinking with her.
Right.
So she got to bring you down with her.
Oh, yeah, she took down the whole damn team. My mom had to drive from here to Notre Dame to pick me up in the middle of the night. It was, that's my experience with Notre Dame. Beautiful campus. Beautiful campus, but I could care less about Notre Dame. They kicked me out.
Yeah, they got you, man. I don't get it.
It's a little salty.
I'm still bitter from high school.
That's a setup.
Hey, my grandpa wanted me to apply really bad, and I was too nervous because I knew it would hurt too bad if I got rejected, so I didn't even bother applying.
Oh, you didn't shoot your shot?
No, Butler University, you were great, good enough. Still in the same state, we were fine. No, I do kind of regret not testing just to see if I would get in, but
right.
I knew I wasn't going to. You need a 34 on your ACT, which is almost perfect to even get looked at. Like, if it's not a 34, they throw out your application. They are very clear about that. I didn't have no 34 on my ACT.
And I think that's the problem with Notre Dame athletically, because you're getting guys, all recruits around the country, that they can go to Alabama's, they can go to different colleges. Notre Dame, you got to be there academically. Like, there's only a certain type of athlete.
No, you damn don't. I know I went to school with Deshaun Kaiser. I'll call him out by name. These QB at Notre Dame had to get a 22 on his ACT to get the job.
That's why Deshaun Kaiser's not in the league.
My first try at the ACT as a freshman in high school, I got a 25.
Yeah, but there's no JUCO players playing for Notre Dame. They're not recruiting. They're not recruiting those types of kids.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Point still stands, but no, I get you though.
22 is not impressive. It's not the 34 that the average Joe needs to get into Notre Dame.
Don't you get like 18 just getting your name right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
No, like seriously. So you could just be filling in random bubbles. You too can be the quarterback at Notre Dame.
Abacadabra. ABACAD.
You could be Jack Cohn. You could be the next Jack Cohn.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares? Buckner, whoever you want to be. All right. At that, we will go to break, you guys, which means Jeff gets to tell us where he gets his hair done.
All right, Lady Janes, listen, guys, let's be honest. Football season is here, and it's time to make your grooming experience easy like a Sunday morning. Get to Lady Janes Haircuts for Men. You can walk through those doors, sit in one of the beautiful chairs. You get to watch television, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Janes, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime because it is wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. Choosing between a 15 or 30-year mortgage can be difficult, which is why we offer the Modern Mortgage, a flexible term that's customized for you. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
It's that time of the year again. Time for our second annual Stuff a Studio with Woodward Sports. Last year, Metro Detroit came together to help make the largest single toy donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. This year, we make it even bigger. Stuff a Studio is happening December 13th through the 17th at the Woodward Sports Studios in Birmingham. The children in Mott Children's Hospital fight so hard all year. Now it's up to all of us to help bring a smile to their faces. So while you're out holiday shopping, make sure you pick up an extra toy or two and help us spread some love to Metro Detroit this season. We look forward to seeing you December 13th through the 17th as we stuff our studio with Woodward Sports and Myre.
Woodward Sports Network, let's go! Ho, 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 ho!
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Woodward Show. Time to get into some more Lions talk, you guys. Taking on the Vikings this Sunday at Ford Field. How confident can Lions fans be going into this game? Stick, I want to start with you. You're our positive Lions man.
I am the positive Lions fan, but I am not confident in this
Dang
game.
it.
He's realistic, at least. He is realistic.
No, I mean, listen. I think the Lions can win every game. I do. I think it's the NFL. Any given Sunday, something can happen. You can fumble, a tip pass, something can happen to change momentum. I think the Lions can win Sunday. But the fact that Vegas has them as a 7.5-point dog at home, my goodness, that says a lot about what Vegas thinks. And I learned a valuable lesson a couple weeks ago from Vegas when they had Michigan State minus 19 against Ohio State. I'm like, that's the dumbest spread I've ever. That's insulting. Well, what happened? Ohio State lost by 300.
Yeah.
So, Vegas knows what the hell they're doing, and when they put an away team, a five-win away team, 7.5-point favorite against you, it's not a good look. Now, with that being said, like I said to start this, any given Sunday, the Lions have a chance, and they're dodging a couple bullets, Cook is going to be out, but Mattinson is probably one of the better number 2 running backs in the league, and everybody sleeps on Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is the best slept-on quarterback in the NFL. Dude's got 20-some-odd touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and nobody says anything about it. It's oh, yeah, Kirk Cousins sucks. Wait, I want our quarterback to suck like Kirk Cousins. I would love our quarterback to suck like Kirk Cousins, but we don't have that right now. We don't have that luxury. I love Jefferson at wide receiver. Their defense isn't quite what it has been, but our offense is not anything to scare any defense. So, yeah, when I'm lining them up side by side, you got to lean towards the Vikings, but my heart will always be with the Lions and always rooting for them, knowing that they can pull it out if they play a perfect game and if the Vikings somehow screw it up.
And it is concerning. As a Lions fan, you're looking into this weekend, and you want to, like I've predicted 3 times this season, a very brave 3 picks that they'd win. All wrong, of course. So this week, I'm not confident, but I will say this. You're at home, obviously, to a Minnesota Vikings team who's without Dalvin Cook. Now, mind you, you lost to this team 19-17 without Dalvin Cook as well. Madison scored that receiving touchdown late in the game. So it's not going to matter. I think your point on Kirk Cousins was spot on. I think just the year he's having, Thielen, Jefferson, and even our guy from by me, Lance Cruz North, Tyler Conklin, balling out. So that offense is nothing to play with. Every game they've been in, they're 5-6. They've lost pretty much those 6 losses by pretty much a score. I mean, they lost to San Francisco 34-26. They can still put up points in losses. They lost to Baltimore in overtime. They lost to Dallas 20-16. This is a team. I mean, you can talk about the Lions competing. At least the Vikings, they put up points no matter what. No matter how bad their defense is playing, they find a way to score. And And that's what worries me this weekend for the Lions. Like, they can put up your 10 to 14, maybe 17 points, but can you hold the Vikings to 14 or 10? And that's the issue I have. I think this game will be close. Like the Lions, they play so hard every week. And to my surprise, I talked about this before, it surprises me that a defense with an offense so bad still has the mentality every week to show up, besides obviously the Philadelphia game. That says a lot. You can talk about Aaron Glenn, but that's big. I mean, around the league, usually, to ask any defensive player, if you know you have an atrocious offense and you can't get anything going, ask Carolina. Carolina has a great defense, but when the quarterback's turning the ball over and they can't get anything going on offense, they give up. I mean, it's hard to still compete when your offense isn't putting anything on the board, and they've been doing just that. Like the Ravens, last week with Lamar throwing 4 interceptions. They've been doing just that. So the defense is going to have to show up like they have been. Offensively, I don't know what to say. If we can just score points, we're averaging 15 points a game. If we can just up that, I mean, compared to the Vikings, almost 26 a game. If we can just up our 15, 16 points to closer to 20, I think you can steal some wins. But averaging 15.5 points, Stick, I don't see how you can beat a team unless you're playing lights out defensively.
And that's the thing. Which Lions team are we going to see?
Right.
Because it's been the story of, the first quarter of the season, we saw a Lions team that looked like it was growing together, that looked like it was gaining that momentum. Then, the Justin Tucker field goal broke their hearts, and they couldn't get that one win out of the way. And now it's just snowballed since then. And you saw 2 games later, Dan Campbell crying on the pulpit while he's giving his post-game press conference. But if I keep going back to what the Lions looked like against the Rams. I want to see that every single Sunday.
Right.
I want trick plays. I want, lay your sack on the table, do some things that the other team is not expecting, and get some points. Like, create something because you're having a rough time just running the ball, doing your checkdowns. Like, let's have some fun with it. If we're going to suck, let's have some fun with it. Make it entertaining. Make it enjoyable to watch. And I think they're capable of it. We saw it during the Rams game, but it seems like they pulled every trick out of the bag for the Rams game, and it's been a vanilla offense ever since.
Like Adam said, they blew their load too early. That's what he says every time he mentions that.
We've had enough time to recharge.
We've
had enough time to recharge.
You can still blow another load next week.
We got another one to blow.
Yeah.
This could be the game. This could be the game. Sometimes you gotta pull back a little, take a rest, and then go at it again. But you have to be doing things different. If you continue to do the things the same way and you're continuing to get the same results, what is that called, Jeff?
Insanity.
And what am I going through right now with my Lions? Insanity. So I really just want them to switch it up. Have some fun. Take the levity out of it, guys. The team already knows you're not going anywhere this season. Everybody probably knew that going into the season, right? This wasn't going to be a banner year for the Lions. Everybody knew that. So have some fun with it. Go out there and at least enjoy what you're doing. And Dan Campbell, let these guys have fun. Let them play with their hair on fire, like our boy Bevel said last year. And that's kind of what you need right now. And I'm not saying fire Campbell and bring, raise up another player or another coach. What I'm saying is when Bevel took over last year for Patricia, that first game, those guys played loose, they played fun, they played hard. We need to get that message back into the locker room somehow.
Yeah, no, I agree completely, and I think your point, especially about laying your sack on the table, is spot on. Like, look at this Lions team. It's spot on. If you look at this Lions team, at least lose. I mean, you talk about losing with pride. Lose with. I don't want Dan Campbell to go into the press conference this Monday after the game and say, we should have changed some things. We should have did different things. That's what I wanted him to go out Sunday after the game and say, listen, we tried our absolute best. We competed to the very end, and we fought our asses off. And I think that's important. The Rams game, spot on. That was, you talk about, Adam says, blowing your load too early. It's been a couple weeks now. You can try some more trick plays because look what it did against the Rams. It's going to be effective against other teams. I don't have a problem doing it, especially if you're winless. What do you have to lose? Like, honestly.
That's the thing right now.
What do you have to lose?
Just go gangbusters, baby. Like, everything.
Flea
flickers, the annexation of Puerto Rico. Let's run that play. Like, let's do the Geico commercial where we bring the baby on the field and then run it in the whatever. I don't care. Just get in the damn end zone.
That's all.
That's it. That's all I want.
Whether it's Dan Campbell or Anthony Lynn, couldn't give a damn. Just somebody get us in there.
Yeah, or, do a promotion. Let fans from the stands call a play every once in a while, I'm a pretty good offensive coordinator in Madden. I can call a good running play or a good check down or a screen pass. I can call a draw on 3rd and 31.
Well, that, yeah.
30-32, my fault. I want to be factually correct. But I can call those plays.
Well, we talked about it yesterday. I believe it was TJ Hawkinson came out and said that there are discrepancies still when it comes to some of these plays and the routes they're running. He's like, I thought that this play meant I was running out 6 yards. Turns out it's 8. Things like that should not be happening come week 13 and beyond. So don't know if just pulling a fan and having them call something, if they don't have their own playbook down, don't know how well that would go for them.
Then we dumb it down for them.
Yeah, let me dumb it down for you guys.
Sorry to interrupt you,
No,
Jeff.
you're good,
But the thing that you were just saying is, but what playbook are they going off of now? Is it Dan Campbell's playbook, or is it Anthony Lynn?
Or is it just a mixture of?
Yeah, that's the thing.
When
When you switch up the play calling, sometimes the terminology is different from coach to coach and stuff like that. So it's just whenever you switch things up, it's going to cause confusion.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I was going to make the point. I realized, obviously, I have DeAndre Swift on my fantasy team, so I've known this ever since he got injured. But he won't be available this week and potentially a couple weeks, and that concerns me for this offense because that's your only playmaker, in my opinion, who can. You saw what he did against the Rams game. To your point, scored his first touchdown, made a magnificent play, and even lately, I mean, you saw what he did against Pittsburgh. He's been our guy. I mean, T.J. Hawkinson has had moments because he's reliant so much on Jared Goff, so it's hard. DeAndre Swift, you just give him the football and watch him work. So I think they're going to miss him a whole lot this week. I think Jamal's getting an uplift in workload. We're going to see Godwin, possibly Jamar if he's healthy. But yeah, I think the loss of DeAndre Swift is going to hurt this team dramatically. Definitely.
Yeah, but if you're a DFS player or a fantasy football player, go pick up Jamal Williams. He's probably going to have a big week. I mean, I'm expecting at least 30 carries out of him, and we've seen when you give him the ball and he gets in a rhythm, he's a 4 to 5 yard a carry back. So if he's getting 30 carries this week, we could see him over 100 yards. We could see him, dominate the game. Yeah. I love Jamal Williams, and I love his running style. He's fast, he's physical, he's mean, and he's fun, like the fun that we're talking about. So maybe him having a bigger role in the offense will at least loosen things up a little bit.
Right. I agree 100%. Anything to take pressure off Jared Goff's shoulders, I'm in with it. Because, well, this year it's been interesting. But we'll see this Sunday. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. It's going to get interesting. Predictions and everything.
All right. Well, Stick, I think you are kind of saying what's been happening in my brain for the past couple games here. They have been so effing boring to watch and just not fun. At this point, are you saying just give me entertainment? Because that's where I've been at.
So yes, essentially that's what I'm saying, but I also want them to still continue to play the right way, because the reason they've had opportunities to win these games as of late is because they haven't done stupid things. I'm saying do those fun, electric plays, but execute them at the proper time. Like, I think Michigan State does a great job with the flea flicker pass and all that. Like, they use it almost damn near every game.
Yeah, try it.
Every game. But it's not worn out, and they use it at the proper time. So, yeah, I like the way that they've been playing and keeping the games close, because I think if, just like making the playoffs, you got to be in the fight to win the fight. And as long as they're in it going down the stretch, they can win the game. But I think there needs to be those pivotal moments that you just pull the rabbit out of the hat and try something. Just try it. We know what we're going to get on a screen pass. We know what we're going to get on those checkdowns. We know what we're going to get on a draw. We don't know what we're going to get on a double reverse. We don't know what we're going to get if Amon-Ra St. Brown catches a ball behind the line of scrimmage and throws it to somebody else. Like, those are the things I just want to see, because at least it shows that, all right, we're trying. What I don't want to see is going for 4th down and leaving points on the board, or those types of risk take moments that I hated earlier in the season for Dan Campbell, because I really feel like if we have played the right way this entire season, we'd have at least 3 wins right now.
And that's kind of like I was saying earlier, I'm like, dude, just screw it. We'll do some Wildcat stuff. Line Jamal Williams up behind center, hike him the ball in the red zone, and just have him run like hell. But to your point, I want to ask you this, because I've talked to Adam about this, and we go back and forth. This year for the Lions, they've had so many games that Dan Campbell, to his credit, he's been in with a chance to win. That's kind of been his goal every game, is give us a chance to win the game. And I think that's definitely deserves credit because every game they seem like they can win it. Is that a positive, or do you look at it as a negative because they aren't able to close games for so long now in the season?
I mean, not being able to close games is a negative, clearly. But being able to be competitive throughout those games is a positive. You know, like the Steelers game, I don't know if you could take that as a positive, but at the end of the day, we got a tie. Woo-hoo! We got a tie. But I would rather lose those close games than get blown out like we did against the Eagles, because then I can't learn anything about my team. And also, Dan Campbell's not learning anything about situational football. That's one good thing we're seeing right now is we have our neophyte coach, but he's learning on the job, which is not a great thing. But we knew that coming into this year. So I'd rather him learn on the job in situational football that matters than learn on the job in blowouts.
Right, because you wouldn't take anything. I mean, you'd just be upset.
Right. What do you do? Okay, we're down by 30. No matter what I call it, really doesn't matter. Now he's getting scrutinized for every play call down the stretch, which eventually will lead to good things if he learns from his mistakes. So let's get them all out of the way this year. We know you're a young coach. It's a young team. We're early in the process. This is the time to make those mistakes. I just wish we weren't watching so much learning on the job.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think we'll, as Dan Campbell continues play calling, I think we'll learn a whole lot about him. And hopefully he can steal a win. So that's the goal.
All right, you guys. Well, this chat is getting a little bit out of hand. So
yeah, they're attacking my sweater.
At that, I am going to go to break, and they're talking about nuts and all the other things. So with all the sack talk, I think I need some Gypsy vodka. It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but the people at Gypsy Vodka believe Gypsy is the best tasting, smoothest vodka on the market. Gypsy is gluten-free, corn distilled 6 times using artesian spring water.
Ooh-wee.
Thank you, Fish. Support these local guys right here from Michigan. Try a bottle today. Ask for it by the name Gypsy. And as always, drink responsibly. All right, we will see you right after the break.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Woodward Show. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. All right, we're going to get into some Detroit Pistons talk. Jeff, I think, informed me they are currently the worst team in the NBA, right, Jeff?
Record-wise, yeah.
Record-wise. Well, yeah, okay, we'll go with that. All right, they're taking on the Suns tonight. Jeff, preview this game for me. What are your thoughts?
Well, actually, the Suns tonight will be without Devin Booker. Obviously, he suffered that strain against the Warriors, which was a great matchup. Two of the best teams in basketball right now matching up. So today is a big opportunity because the Pistons have been on such a bad losing streak. It's been like 6 games, 7 games now where they've lost straight, and that's concerning, obviously. Because considering before them, they've stole some wins, so you want to see that again. And I don't know if they'll steal a win tonight against the Suns. It would be very impressive. But the positives you could take away from this thing is a couple players developing. Saddiq Bey, I do have concerns about. I was expecting him to take more of a points he's there, 13, 14 points. I'm not concerned about that. It's the efficiency I'm a little surprised about with Saddiq Bey, just in terms of his three-point shooting. Last year, it seems like he took a little step back, and that's never a good thing, especially when you want the guy to be your second, third option. But Cade's been great. I mean, last game had his best game as an NBA player, as a pro, so you give credit where it's due, and the guy's balling out. The sad thing is he doesn't have much help around him. I mean, against the Portland Trailblazers, Chauncey Billups took on the Pistons, and we put on a bad performance besides Cade. I mean, Jeremy Grant couldn't hit from 3. Saddiq couldn't hit from 3. Nobody can shoot, and I've said this multiple times. If you're going to go all in on Cade, which I believe the Pistons are, you have to build the right team around him, and that's going to take an offseason or two, of course, but you're going to need shooting. You're going to need more guys who can create you can stand in the corner and be role players, or can take the ball ball and get a bucket for Cade. I mean, that's what you want. Build a team around him, and I think they will do that. But this season, I mean, it's a sham. I will say this. They are the worst team record-wise, but I might add this. The Rockets were the worst team record-wise until Jalen Green got injured, and then they started winning games. So you know what? If that doesn't tell you anything, I don't know what does. But I will say this. Cade's, you've heard it from Chauncey Billups when the Portland Trailblazers played him. He said Cade's a winner. He's a natural winner. It's about building the right pieces around him. And I think the Pistons, I believe, Dwayne Casey I'm willing to give another year on, but I have no doubt in my mind Troy Weaver is the right guy for this, and he'll surround him with plenty of talent, especially considering if we suck this year and we get another, number one, possibly top 3 overall pick, you're going to get another guy who can come in immediately and contribute with Cade. So I'm not worried about this season, but they got to steal some wins. So I still have them. Before the season, me and Adam argued over under 25 wins. We both said over. I'm still sticking with that. I think they'll get more wins as the season goes on, but my God, I don't get it. When Cade's rusty, you win games. When he's not rusty, you start losing games. I just can't put it together, Stick.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating season, especially for me as a fan perspective on this. Last year, and while you were talking, I think I figured out why it's been a frustrating season for me. I'll get to your Saddiq Bey point in a minute, but last year we had no expectations, right? Right. And then we had these 3 rookies that we had from the first round come in, and we started. Killian obviously got hurt last year, but we started to see Saddiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart, and we all fell in love with them, right? Saddiq Bey ends up going play for the Olympic team as a sub. All things are rolling forward. We had no expectations. I think this year we had some expectations for the team. And that's where you're kind of getting this weird feeling like this. To me, they're not as entertaining as they were last year. And last year they weren't good at all, but they were competitive. They were young. Yep. They were fun. I was watching growth almost every single game. This year, I feel like I'm waiting for something to happen. And it's not happening.
20 games in.
20 games in, and it's not happening. And I feel like when our core isn't there, we got no shot to win. Last year, I felt, all right, if Killian's out, okay, we'll find some other guys to fill it. This year, I feel Killian's kind of a linchpin to the team, too. Mm-hmm. When he's out, our lineup is just so disjointed. Our rotations change so much, and we don't put our best foot forward onto the court. I love Cade. Never going to speak poorly about Cade. His effort, his athleticism, his coolness in the crunch time. Mm-hmm. I just want him to get more crunch time moments. So to me, this season's really been about my expectations coming in. Okay, we were good last year. We weren't good last year, but we were growing last year. You add a key element like a Cade Cunningham, we're going to be better, and we're not. So that's my expectations. That's probably leading me to not be as excited this year as I was last year for the Pistons, even though I still love them. It's just their games are much harder to watch this year, and I don't know why. We have better talent, but it's harder to watch. So I just hope they can get it back together. It's not going to happen tonight against the Suns. The Suns are an unbelievable basketball
even without
team.
Booker.
Even without Booker. And actually, I saw an interesting tweet yesterday. Somebody comparing the 04 Pistons to this current Suns team.
I did see that.
And I thought it was interesting. It's not A to B, but it's similarities.
The only farthest difference was the Ben Wallace to 8-1. I didn't see that just because how dominant defensively Ben Wallace was. But the rest, I'm like, I can see it.
Yeah.
Mikel to Tayshaun. I get the Chauncey CP3 thing, but
yeah, the only one I didn't really love was the Booker and
the Rip,
because Rip was your mid-range coming off picks guy. Booker can create his own shot. Booker can kind of just run the whole game himself. Rip was a great piece of the puzzle here in Detroit, especially when he had his backcourt mate in Chauncey Billups. Booker is a standalone player. You could throw him on any team, and he's going to get his numbers. So to me, that's kind of the difference. But at the same time, the Suns are a great team. Mm-hmm. They kept it together after last year instead of trying to, okay, we didn't win the championship. Let's blow this whole thing up. Let's try to bring in new pieces. No, we have something good working here. Let's try it again with the pieces we have, and let's tweak some of our bench. So I don't see the Pistons coming in with a win tonight, per se, but all I want to see from them is competitiveness and growth. That's what I want to see out of really all Detroit's teams at this time.
And I want to get your opinion on Killian, because I thought that the linchpin thing was a great point. And I have a stat right here I was mentioning to bring up. You just reminded me. Killian Hayes and Cade Cunningham. What a backcourt. And I love it because if you look at this rate defensively, they're both top 5 under 21-year-old players with a steal rate of 1.5 playing together. And that's ridiculous. Two guys that disrupt teams defensively. And I want to get your opinion because we talked about this yesterday or the day prior, and I would love to hear your opinion on just the Killian Hayes. How important is his development this year? Because I think right now we're at about a full season in terms of his career games. I think he just hit around 80, 90 games.
No, I think he's still around.
Or half a season.
Yeah, I think he's still around 40.
Half a season. He just hit around half a season. How would you evaluate him thus far, and what are your expectations this year for him to really sit back and say, okay, I'm on this. I'm still on the Killian train here.
Well, I thought you had a great point the other day just talking about no matter what floor of this kid is a top-end defensive player.
Yep.
And I'm okay with that. The numbers that you gave out I thought were a little low. I expect a little more out of Killian than that.
But
I think he's a great assist guy, but I think moving him to the 2 like they have this season has really made him more comfortable, because last year, my buddy Anson brought this up, last year he got exposed bringing the ball up the court, because he can really only go left. Mm-hmm. He's not a great right-handed ball handler at this time, especially at the NBA level. You can get by with that stuff in Europe, right. You can get by with that stuff in other leagues, but NBA, these boys play.
They'll make you go to your right.
They scout you, and they're gonna take away your left hand, and I think that took away some of his confidence last year as well. Now that he's playing off the ball, you see that he's got a nice little three-point shot. You see that he can lock down a defender, and when Cade's out, he can run the offense. I just don't love him bringing the ball up the court. So for me, I think Killian's on track. I'm not worried about Killian Hayes in the slightest at all. The people that are freaking out about him saying he's a bust, and I'm a Halliburton guy, by the way.
That's even better, actually. That you make that point.
If you go back and watch our draft party here that we had with Woodward like a year ago almost, because the draft party got pushed back because of COVID and all that, you'll see on the tape me sitting there in my backwards hat saying, Halliburton's our guy. All right, he's available. Halliburton's our guy. Then we end up taking Killian, and I didn't love it at the time, but from what I've seen out of Killian, I love his game. Mm-hmm. And I love Halliburton's game, but I think Killian now fitting with a Cade is a perfect blend. And I think those two as our backcourt for the future, we're going to be just fine, especially since the kids only played half a season, like you were saying. So everybody freaking out about Killian Hayes, calm down. Just calm down. The kid is good. He's very good, and he's only going to get better because I think he's still 16 years old.
Absolutely right. And I want to shift the talk to Dwayne Casey, because, again, we had this conversation, and 2 seasons last year, we were able to get 20 wins. This season, you have 4 wins. The guy has a track record. We know this. Dwayne Casey, it's not like a Dan Campbell situation where he's coming in, he's trying to be head coach. This guy has a history, former coach of the year. How much time, from a Pistons fan, because I said I'll give him next year, and then you can really sit back and say, is he the coach that takes you to the next level? What are your thoughts? Is it more based on the development of the players, or are you looking at the coach like, you can get a little more out of these guys?
That's tough.
It's a tough question.
It is tough. I like Dwayne Casey. His system isn't the most beautiful to watch, and I think that's what people have a problem with. We're not running an up-tempo offense.
Mm-hmm.
We're shooting a lot more threes than I think we should. That's the one adjustment I would make. But he's more focused on defense. And we love that here in Detroit.
Yeah.
But when you're not great and you're focusing on defense and you're not there yet, it doesn't translate well. And I think that's what we're experiencing now. Once we get our defensive team together, I think we'll see more out of Casey's coaching style. And I love what he's doing and the whole Pistons organization is doing with building the G League here in Detroit, bringing guys up and down. You see Saban Lee bouncing back and forth. You've seen Garza bounce back and forth. Those are important pieces, and it's an important thing to build your culture. Because what he did in Toronto with guys like Kyle Lowry, with why can't I think?
DeMar DeRozan.
DeRozan, but those guys, Lowry and Van Vliet.
Yeah, Van Vliet.
Van Vliet came up through the G League and through that system, and he turned into a hell of a point guard. Mm-hmm. So I think we got to give this time. This isn't something where you just plant a seed and it grows instantly. This is cultivating culture. We need a culture change here in Detroit, and that takes time. So I think Casey's the guy. Is he going to be our Rick Carlisle, where we hire Larry Brown right after to take us over the top? Maybe, but I would prefer to let's stick with him. Let's stick with this game plan till we know it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly said. The only problem I had with Dwayne Casey this year, a big fan of his. Obviously, we had him in the studio, so it's not me being biased. The guy's a great man and a great coach. But I will say this: the only problem I had this year, and I was first to criticize him, is the decision to play veterans, especially when you have Hamid Diallo not getting playing time, and you only have 4 wins, and Corey Joseph's taking up a majority of your bench minutes. I like Frank Jackson, though. I will say that. My problem is...
I like cornroll Frank Jackson better than shaved head Frank Jackson.
Okay, I will give you that.
Cornroll Frank Jackson was like, he was intimidating. Mustache, shaved head Frank Jackson, it's like, dude, this guy looks like he showed up at the YMCA and just whoops ass.
You're leaving him wide open with the mustache.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing. I was like, why is Corey getting all the minutes Hamidou is getting, and now you see him getting playing time. So, yeah, I'm on Dwayne Casey. I'm still a Dwayne Casey fan. I'm willing to give him time, and I think a lot of Pistons fans are as well. So, jury's still out.
All right, you guys. Well, when we come back, we will have our mailbag segment. So make sure you guys
Can we change that to mail sack?
No.
Big mail sack.
Make sure you guys are leaving all of your questions for these lovely men in the comments. If you have a question for Fish, me, Stick, Jeff, shoot, even Alex, if you want to ask him something.
Yeah, Alex, you got to say your comment you said earlier about Killian.
Go ahead. Unmute yourself. Be a man.
I said that they should send Killian down to the G League.
No, listen, a lot of people actually might agree with you.
I know a lot of people are saying that.
And those people are idiots.
Well, I mean, I don't agree with it, but yeah, it's...
Unless he's injured on a rehab, he is... Dude, you saw what Saban Lee was doing to the G League. He was putting up 40. What do you think Killian's going to do?
He's going to put up numbers.
Come on.
All right, anyway, we get to the mailbag.
All right, make sure you're leaving your questions in the chat, you guys. But first, I got to tell you what you should be doing this weekend. Make sure you're coming to Tin Roof, downtown Detroit, to hang out with us for the Lions pregame on Woodward Sports, live with Jose Cuervo, D-Mac, Maz, Jade, myself, and more will help host the pregame on Woodward Sports and 101.1 The Riff. And then, of course, the party cannot end at the pregame. You got to go to the postgame, too, with Stick and Anson at the 2-minute warning of every single Lions game at the Brass Rail at Adams and Woodward. They start streaming right at the 2-minute warning of every Lions game to get all of the crowd reactions and interactions. There will be DJs, drinks, and a Woodward VIP section with food and more, so make sure you head down there at the 2-minute warning. All right, we will see you guys after the break. Leave those comments and questions in the chat.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Woodward Show. Thanks so much. Make sure you're entering in your comments. They are all about sacks right now, so this is awesome. Not really sure what I'm going to ask you guys, because so far... Oh, this is a good one from Adam. Stick, what has Woodward Sports this year meant to you, and what are you thankful for?
Oh, man. Wow, not to get...
You're going to make him cry.
I was going to say, I'm about to get all teary up here. I mean, Woodward Sports is everything to me. Yeah. You guys know that, and you guys are everything to me. You know, when we were at the Folling Warehouse... was that 2 days ago, and looking around and seeing our entire staff there interacting, having fun, and just knowing that I didn't know you before a year ago, I didn't know you before a year ago, I didn't know Fish before.
Right.
Like all of this is new to my life, and like just watching this thing grow. And you know, Chad Johnson has done an incredible job with helping us get to where we need to go and pushing us and making sure that we're on our game. But it's just amazing to look around and see what a year can do, and it just gets me super excited to see what's going to happen in 2 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. I'm thankful for everybody I get to work with on a daily basis, and I put it in a post yesterday. You guys all inspire me too daily because I love your talents, and I love watching young talent like Jeff grow. I love watching Kennedy blossom. Fish, when Fish started, he didn't even talk. Yeah. And now look at him, he can't shut up.
Now he just made a Twitter.
Right, now he's got Twitter. So yeah, just the evolution's been phenomenal, and thank you to everybody that's ever watched, liked, shared, pounded the thumbs up sign. Like, we appreciate you more than you could ever imagine. Just know that.
100%. And if you're watching right now, hit that like button if you haven't already, and subscribe if you haven't already, because that's important. It makes us keep doing this. But yeah,
Yes.
what's another mailbag question?
What
That was a
was
great
your
one to start out with.
favorite topic of the year? That's from Peter. Jeff, do you have a favorite thing we've covered?
Favorite topic of the year had to be easily, to me, is Isaiah Stewart going AWOL in Little Caesars Arena. That was my favorite moment to cover because for the first time in my life, that we don't see events like that in the NBA, let alone happen to our team with a player who reminds us so much of Big Ben Wallace. So you know what? That's my favorite moment, definitely, being able to cover that.
Yeah, my favorite moment of the year probably was our NFL draft party at Del Mar. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, we're talking about moment or topic?
Oh, topic?
They said topic, but
Okay,
you can
topic.
go for it.
Because moment, definitely agree with you there.
All the topics are. I could talk Detroit sports all day long, so really, there's no bad topic for me.
Yeah. No, but I agree with you. Probably favorite event or going to. God, all the draft parties are so much fun. I mean, it's got to be any party Woodward Sports hosts. That's a favorite party.
We like to party.
Yeah, we love to party. So, put it up there.
Dave says Fish is on Twitter? ? Yes, Fish is on Twitter at FishKiwi. SH. I'm like dyslexic. Kiwi, KIWI. Right, Fish?
I'm not
Fish,
British, even though I like British people.
Fishy, will you tell the people what kind of content that they can expect from you on your Twitter page?
I would love to know myself. I have no clue. So,
Come on, Fish. Are you going to give everyone the international content that they
I don't
deserve?
know. I mean, I could if
Fish.
I'm not busy doing
No
stuff.
one else is covering it here. You better. I don't know about cricket or
Well,
whatever you like.
Possibly.
I think you should definitely start covering that sumo wrestling that you're always watching.
Oh, we love
That's
sumo,
my
don't we,
favorite.
Fish? Sumo's
The sumo gets intense. That's one of the sports I will watch because I love UFC. So that masculinity, I'm down with it. I'm down with it. What's
All
another
right.
question?
What you got, Kennedy?
Let's see. Lots of sack questions. Oh, Mike G.
Smooth as eggs.
Mike G says, any boops, Fish? Fish, will you give the people a boop?
Boop.
Thank you.
There we go.
Honolulu Boost Party says, why isn't Sticks sleeping on a billboard? Lions haven't won. That's my sack question.
So
That's where he goes home to.
That was going to be the concept. First of all, no billboard would let me do it due to liability. I talked to a couple business owners. I was going to do it at 14 and John R. at the Carpet Guys facility. They were going to let me live on the roof. But it turns out that I actually have responsibilities outside of living on the roof, and I just couldn't make it happen this year. When I was on radio back in the day and I was just the part-time guy, that was the stuff I did. I would go do that type of stuff because the station functioned without me.
Right.
I got to do stuff around here, and that's the only reason. But believe me, I'm living on that roof in my head.
Right. I can't have you sleepwalk off a billboard, Stick. We can't have that.
And I just can't sit up on a roof all day. I got stuff to do.
He's got stuff, Dan. He's got to watch Lions games. That's what we got to do.
D. Smitty says, my favorite was seeing Sticks' reaction to the end of the Baltimore game after the field
That's
goal.
got to be one of your favorite. I mean, not favorite, but
it was
memorable
good.
moments. That clip of you at the end, just appalled, was definitely.
And Anson brings this up all the time. And
Anson was funny
It
during
pisses me off, though. He's like, I would rather have the Lions loss in that memory. And I'm like, what? No,
that's a little too far.
You thought I went nuts when we lost? Imagine what I would have done had we won.
If he missed that, yeah.
Yes. So, we still would have had a great response. But, yeah, it was, that's a real emotion. That's what I'm like watching Lions games. Whenever I'm at home, I'm standing up in front of the TV. I'm jumping up and down. I'm yelling. I'm screaming. I'm coaching. I'm doing all those things. And, yeah, honestly, the further we get away from that moment, the more it's like, damn, that was a good reaction because if we got that win, history would be changed now.
Stick, you weren't here when we talked about it. We talked about it yesterday. Do you think, or when do you think, the Lions' first win will come? I know you're still waiting at those parties.
I don't know anymore.
That's how I am, man.
We've broken Stick.
They broke me. I said
They
3
broke me
times.
down.
I said Chicago for the first time. I thought they'd win.
Yep.
Philly, and then Thanksgiving was wrong all 3. I'm checking out.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
No matter what you thought, you've been wrong.
Yeah.
Even if you thought this team was going to have 1 win by now, you look like an
wrong.
idiot.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think they have a shot against Atlanta. Atlanta's kind of putrid right now. They're not really on their game, and if they can shut down Patterson, they really don't have anything else. Matt Ryan is Matt Ryan. I think Atlanta's their next shot at winning a game.
Yep.
Jenna wants an update on Woody. She says, how's the pup?
Oh, what is this? Just Ask Stick?
Yeah,
we got to change the name of the segment.
No, I do. I want to know about Woody, too.
I do, too. That's the cutest dog ever.
Woody is my soulmate. He's the love of my life. I love that dog more than anything. I adopted him from Detroit Dog Rescue last year, and anybody who's looking for a companion, Detroit Dog Rescue, go there. But honestly, he has been the best thing to happen to me over this past year. I love him so much. We play every night. I take him for walks. You know, he sleeps next to me, like right by my leg, puts his little head right here on my stomach. Like, I love that dog more than life itself. He's the best.
Dogs are the best, man.
Yeah.
Dogs
They
are
are.
the best.
I have like a routine with mine. Every time I leave the house, I'm like, I love you and you are my best friend. And then I give him a kiss and I'm like, do you love your mom? And he just looks at me and I'm like, do you love your mom?
Yeah, before I came in here this morning, I'm like, all right, buddy, have a great day.
Yeah.
You know, play with your toys, chew on your stuff, like, you know, play with the cats. I'll be home later. Like, I talk to him like a human.
That's how it is, man. That's
Does
how
he
it
play
is.
with the cats?
He plays with them. They don't want to play with him, though.
Oh, yeah, that's how
It's messed
Chesney
up.
is.
It's messed up,
They
man.
don't like
It's
him.
cats and
Yeah.
Hayden.
All right, you guys. Well, we got to get out of here. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. But Stick, before we go, can you tell everyone about Stuff a Studio? I don't have the live read.
Yes. And honestly, this probably should have been the thing I said was my favorite thing we did all of last year. Last year, we were able to raise $70,000 worth of toys for the Mott Children's Hospital, and it was all thanks to people like you watching. Kelly Stafford came through with a whole bunch of TVs and toys and all that good stuff. All of our sponsors, we like to challenge them to come out and stuff this studio. It's a great event that's going on December 13th through 17th. We're going to be here at the studio pretty much all hours. You can drop by toys at any time, and it's really just an amazing thing to slowly watch this studio become an avalanche of toys. And I'm telling you, last year when we drove out to Mott Children's Hospital, and they were in awe by how many toys we were able to collect for them, and during a pandemic, you know, not a lot of people were out doing those types of things. And for Woodward Sports to, like, our first big thing to be a charitable event that led to kids having the best holiday they could ever have, sick kids too. It's meaningful, it's heartful. And, you know, Myre hooked us up again this year with $5,000. We're going to go on a shopping spree to kick this off. So, yeah, if you're out shopping or if you're online shopping, you want to ship some stuff here. We had people do that last year. Stuff a Studio's going on, and your toys will get to the very best cause that they can. And you just be a part of this, because bring your kids, because when those kids come in and see mounds of toys, like, I'm 6'4", and it was over my head.
Yep.
It was amazing last year. So Stuff a Studio happening again. Please, when you're out shopping, think about it, pick up an extra toy and bring it on in.
All right, well, there you have it, folks. This has been the Morning Woodward Show for today. We will see you guys tomorrow. Big D Energy coming up next, so make sure you stick around. This is Woodward Sports.